Thank you for joining us today. I'm Carla. I'm a founding partner in Lichtvision and I'm on IALD board of directors. I would like to introduce you to Enlighten, our lighting design conference, and I'm extremely happy that it will be hosted in Berlin. This preview is to give you a sneak peek into what is going in to be the conference and things to do while you are in Berlin. I'm going to be joined today by Andreas Schulz, Juan Ferrari, Martina Frattura, and Chiara Carucci. As a Berlin resident, I wanted to start by giving you some information on the host city of Berlin. We are going back and forwards. I think we are all interested in museums, so I think there are like two big hubs, which is the Kulturforum in Tiergarten and the Museumsinsel in Mitte. So have a look at the Neue Nationalgalerie. You might also enjoy the architecture of Mr. Sharoon. And if you're going to the Museumsinsel, it's the old, it's the new, it's David Chipperfield. And you also can see the new Schloss, which is a new building, but looks really old. Next. There are other really inspiring moments in Berlin. So you could see, of course, the old Sony Center, which is still our lighthouse. To see the Haus der Kulturen der Welt is always good, even if it is from the 50s. There are some art installations in the landscape of the city. You have so many opportunities. This is only a little inspiration. Next. Of course, Berlin is special and is known for its wall. And have a look at the East Side Gallery. And if you want to hear a little bit more about the history, the documentation center at the Berliner Mauer at the Bernauer Straße, it's worth it to have a look and to have a sneak idea what it was in former times, long time ago. Next. Of course, lighting designers, we have to look back, but we always look in the future with the Enlighten conference. There is in the Tiergarten the open air museum of the old gas lantern. Worth it to have a look at. It's a wonderful walk. We hope for good weather. Next. We have him on board, but his installation Dark Matter is worth it to take the trip after the conference, of course, because it's a little bit outside the city center. Next. And then if you still have booked a little bit more time in Berlin, the Boris collection is worth it, but you have to book in advance. Next. The Feuerle collection has a dramatic, really nice installation. So also, besides the lighting, the exhibition is really beautiful. Have a look. Next. New Media Art Center at the Rivera Street, 99. Go there. It's really worth it. And next. There is also of the Last Art Foundation a new exhibition in the Naturkunde Museum. So this will be your arty weekend. Next one. And if you want to relax and have enough of lighting, you can have a good beer at the Café am Neuen See in the Tiergarten. It's not so far from the Gaslaternen Museum. So, welcome to Berlin. Enjoy it. It's all about lighting, but also about fun. And I would like to introduce Andreas. Welcome, Andreas.
Thank you very much for giving me an inside view of Berlin, even that I'm a resident of the city. I know much more right now. Thank
Good.
you.
I will check after the conference which images you found in the landscape of the city. Welcome very much. I'm delighted to have you. So, who don't know you, surprisingly, could you tell us a little bit about you.
Okay, yeah, my name is Andreas Schulz. I'm a lighting designer. I'm working in the city of Berlin, like Carla, but there is an office in the city of Bonn as well, one in Barcelona and one in Bangalore. So we are international working company. We are 45 people, which makes us to a bigger office. And yeah, but Berlin was, as you know very well, my starting point for the career. So Berlin is a city which I'm, let's say, very much connected to. And yes, yeah.
And the European lighting community is growing, and things are starting to return to normal after the pandemic. We are very happy about it. Could you talk a little bit about what's important for the European lighting community to come together at events like Enlighten Europe?
Yes, of course. Yeah, we all went through the pandemic, and we could already see when Light and Build starts last year, there was, let's say, kind of, let's say, sensational reunion of our community. No? It was the first time when we could, let's
Mm.
say, gather together. And the same happened to me. I just turned back from New York. I attended the Light Fair in New York, and I could have that feeling in the United States as well. And we are looking very much forward to have the same, let's say, community and event in Berlin. I think it's quite important to see us in our industry and to talk and to, let's say, chat and to share. We really missed it. We really missed it, and there is a lack of communication in between of us. So I'm looking really forward to see all the colleagues in Berlin.
I completely agree. It's really needed to meet again, and might be not only at the fair, but also to learn something. And you will present at the conference on the subject of business. And I personally think it's very interesting. I was reading it's more for the starters, but I think you always can learn from your insights. Could you give us a little preview of what you talk will cover?
Yeah, it's not as a typical designer, it's not ready yet. But let's say I have, let's say, already bullet points I like to talk about. As I am a teacher and a professor and educating young people, I think I like to get them aware of just starting a business and let's say running or into that kind of, let's say, choppy waters without a proper education. And as we, especially in Berlin, know, there are a lot of young offices. They started business. They don't know anything about a proper fee calculation. They don't know anything about a proper, let's say, schedule in working on project. They even don't have experience in working, but they start their business. And I want to point out that it needs a little bit more to start a business and to get aware what it means to run a business. No? As you can see on myself, I'm over 60 and I'm still working quite hard every day. And like to make aware to the younger crowd what it means to be a business owner and to give them some advice and to give even the ones who already started their business some advice how to keep it successful. From my point of view, it's easy to get success because there are enough projects. If you have a low fee proposal, you will get it. But the question is how to keep that process and how to become successful and to earn money and to become maybe somebody who's well known for many years and not just, let's say, kind of, let's say, straw fire. So this is all about it. It's a little bit, let's say, in touching the ground.
I think it's very interesting because I mean we are starting in the 90s our business, so I think we had some traps and did some mistakes and lessons learned. So I think it will be very interesting for the young designers not go to the same traps we have went through
Yeah.
and might be have a better work-life balance than we had in our starting time.
Yeah, maybe
Um,
that work-life balance could be an illusion as well, no? As somebody who is, let's say, in our industry, because all the ones I know so far who are successful, they are working quite hard. But why not pointing that out, no? In the beginning, no? That might be an illusion to have, let's say, 6 months of summer holidays and let's say being a successful lighting designer. Anyway, it's that is a topic.
Anyway, I think I have to work on the 6 months vacation time.
Yeah.
um, what would you say to people who haven't decided yet to come?
I think it's worth the ride. Always when I was like you are now a director on board of ILD, I always was promoting to go with these conferences to nice cities. It's not all about lighting, it's to see cities. If you once were in Prague, beautiful. If you once were in Barcelona, beautiful. So I think for those ones who not really decided to come, Berlin is it's worth it, the journey. So there is so many good things to see in Berlin. Berlin is surrounded by water, beautiful lakes, beautiful, let's say, landscape, beautiful city surrounding Potsdam, amazing city to see. So there is so much to see, to educate yourself that even, let's say, attending the conference could be just 50% of what it is in total to travel. No? Beside, I think that the conference is super interesting, and for me, it would be a destination anyway. But I'm living in Berlin. But I think the combination of both, and during summertime in Germany, summer in Germany, this is it's rare.
Especially in Berlin, I think it is. Well, it's one of the best times of the year.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, absolutely.
is there also something where you would say, dear audience, that is a must? You have to find time to see that in Berlin.
Yeah,
It's
you
like,
point.
what are your three, not top five, top three to visit?
Yeah, I tell you the truth. Just with the impression, just let's say coming back from New York, Berlin has that kind of New York feeling as well, no? And that is not art connected. No? You don't need to go to the museums, but we have a lot of galleries. We have a lot of people who are in art business, and if you join some people in the, let's say, in the more modern parts of Berlin and join the social, the street life. No? This is, I think, worth the ride because people is, or Berlin is very much used to foreign people. Nearly everybody speaks English, and it's very easygoing city, even with the traffic and a lot of hotels and places to stay, a lot of Airbnbs and a lot of things to do. I like personally the landscape of the city, the water body. No? There are so many lakes, so many really nice things. You can rent a boat and go on your own. This is not so typical. No? These small boats you can rent. You don't need a license, and you can make, let's say, with your friends a water tour, and you can run through the city even. That is so amazing. No? You can, let's say, the government district. You can go by boat. It's fantastic from my point of view.
Yeah, I it's not in the city. We are not ready for the swim.
Yeah.
You could might be in the future we can swim through the city, but I think it's also take a boat or take a bike or even walk through the city and experience it by yourself. I think it's really worth it. And I personally can say I really love to that I'm a resident and I'm living here.
Yeah.
Um, we have to wrap up. Thank you very much. I liked your insights, and we see each
And
other.
I'd like to add something for the Americans who didn't decide so far.
Okay,
Yeah, you can have a gin tonic in a nice club for, let's say, $8. And you don't have to pay 20% tips, and you get it.
that is a key point. I think it's worth it to all the internationals. Yeah, we have to admit Berlin is not a very. It became more expensive, but it's still.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's still affordable city. It's still
yeah,
affordable. And compared to other cities, it's still affordable.
you can have with even less money a big thrill.
Yeah, right.
Thank you, Andreas.
Pleasure.
It was nice to have you.
Thank you very much.
So, thank you, Andreas. And our next guest is Martina. And welcome, Martina. I'm delighted to have you here. Um, give us a short introduction to yourself?
Absolutely. Well, first of all, thank you for having me. I'm a lighting designer. I'm Italian and based in Lisbon. Although I have to admit, after this amazing presentation of Berlin, I might reconsider my location in the future. I work also as an independent researcher, mainly on the non-visual effects of lighting, especially regarding engagement and in terms of attention span, how it could be implemented and maintained with lighting. And in fact, one of the actual props that I, let's say, learned to use is our lighting conveys and gets parallel with the static experience. In fact, I'm also head of a think tank called the Beauty Movement that collects different professionals like neuroscientists, philosophers, architects. They will all like work around the concept of beauty in order to better implement it in our lives.
I think that is quite an interesting topic, and I think we have to have a discussion in the conference about that a little bit
Absolutely.
deeper. You are as well a regional coordinator. You were in the content advisory committee this year. Can you tell us a little about how the selection process works for speakers?
Absolutely. I think actually, let me just start to say that to be part of the board was such a formative experience, which I was not even expecting, not even close by. And I'm so happy I joined, and I hope I could do it again and again. Exactly because it gave me the right impression also on how to present your own proposals in general for a public speaking conference. And as we were like we joined the first meeting, first online meeting, and we were sad about what would have been the main criteria, but it was also left mainly to us. In fact, the beginning of the process was us reviewing each single paper, each single proposal received. And actually, the more we were running through, the more articles and the more proposals we were looking at, the better was clear how would be an effective way to present your own subject. And I think this is a precious experience like that. And usually, and I can also relate to what Andreas before was saying in terms of business and so on, even in this case, how you present your work, sometimes it's something that we actually lacking. And this is one of those type of experience that really enriches you in that sense.
And were there any key themes that you noticed in the submission?
Absolutely, because exactly after this moment of like going through the submissions one by one and individually, we met again online for I think around another couple of times, and in order to discuss what we saw, and then we got provided also a list from the highest rank to the lowest, let's say, and we could already spot that all of us was actually putting in front some of the main key topics, let's say, but there were some that were actually quite shared. And one of it, for instance, was definitely sustainability. And when I say sustainability, I mean in relation of space, in relation of animals, and also human being. Like let's say covering the whole big, whatever is all the big umbrella of sustainability per se. And that was definitely one of the key one. And then I think us like also discussing all together and realizing what it drove our attention most, help us also finding other type of main topic and key topics they were more like, let's say, engaging in a different way. So something that was also a bit challenging us in terms of, as spectators of the conference. And this was also quite informative. And we also had, this is a small preview, we also had quite a like conversation regarding if we were ready, let's say in inverted commas, about talking about AI in the lighting industry, for instance, already or not. And this was already just the conversation between us was super engaging.
So do you think that this discussion you already had in the committee could be transformed to the conference, that we start to redefine the word sustainability, because it was like years, it was like, ooh, everyone was talking about it, but it was not really with strong meanings. But as you were describing it, it could be a complete new holistic approach. Do you see the opportunity in the conference?
Absolutely. I think those are the exact moments where this thing starts to put roots in, because we managed to put on the table also what we think about certain topics that somehow we really don't have time on a day-to-day basis, right? Because we are working against the clock most of the time. So this conversation definitely are going to spark even more conversation on same or similar topics. And I think that's the main added value to actually participate to a conference. So such a lighting, it literally to also keep up not what is going on at the present time, but what it could be the future of the industry, and not only actually.
And is there one speaker or subject where you personally were really keen, and this is like my crown jewel, I really have to make time to see it, there's no time for coffee or do the tourist tour like I mentioned to you guys? Is there something where you said like, this was my personal favorite?
I tell you more. Actually, there was a moment that I thought that I actually thought I should have said that. I should have really go for this way and present it in such a beautiful way and go exactly through the same learning objectives. That's again, especially when I had the time to go through the submission individually. That was a moment where I realized, first of all, how again, it was like a reminder of how beautiful and how polyhedric light can be. And it's not just about calculations or choosing materials or choosing fixtures. It's so much more than that. And it's kind of like falling back in love with every single submission I went through, and I'm not exaggerating. I was quite lucky because almost all my winning papers are almost all there basically at the conference, if not all actually.
Ooh.
So yes, so
Congrats.
I think I will be quite busy to be honest, but definitely there are at least like a handful of people that I'm really looking forward to see. But I actually say that the whole final calendar, it's really inspiring.
So you won't share your favorite in very precise.
I would say
this is go on Saturday at 1 o'clock. No, you are not sharing that insight. So we have guessing and then come back to you and ask you, was that your favorite?
That's what I wanted. That's what I wanted.
I got you.
I want you to come to me later on.
Yeah, we start the discussion on that one. What else are you looking forward to about the event Enlighten Europe?
My first Enlighten was last year in September, and it was as well after such a long time of let's say isolation, even if it was already like a better year last year in terms of pandemic restriction. But then when I was there, when I went there, then I realized how much I missed to be around all the people of the industry. And when I say people, it's a word that I chose like on purpose, so because we're all professionals, but at the same time we're all as well people, and it's so nice to be in touch with all the world that comes along with to each professional figure. So I am really looking forward to chat with everyone and talking about light and beauty.
It's so nice to have that little chat with you in advance. And I'm really looking forward to continue that chat on the conference. I think we all looking forward to the new redefinition of sustainability, and that we are far more positive. And I learned communication will be really key, and I think it's a thrilling program, and thank you for all your effort and the good choices.
Thank you. Absolutely.
So thank you, Martina. Next one is Chiara. I would like to have a chat with. And if she will join me on screen, here she is. Hi, Chiara. It's so nice to have you and that you are joining us today. Could you give us a little introduction to yourself?
Thanks a lot, Carla, and everyone to giving us this fabulous preview of the conference. We are so excited for. So I'm an IALD associate lighting designer. I'm specialized in natural and cultural heritage. And I'm gonna be so happy to share my experience, especially with some mammals in Berlin. My projects are mostly based in Sweden and in Italy. I also combine my professional experience with advocacy for the lighting design and also with mentoring lighting professionals, young professionals.
And Pia, as part of ILD, there is a membership category for our manufacturing partners called the Lighting Industry Resource Council, LIRC in short. I know you have done a lot of work with this group. Perhaps you could tell me a little bit more about why this collaboration is so important for us as lighting designers and ILD.
That's a very good one. I'm so proud to be in the steering committee and to serve in the steering committee of the of the LIRC. We work to enhance the communication between professional lighting designers and with manufacturers. The members of the LIRC are in fact manufacturers, but the steering committee is formed by both lighting designers and manufacturers representatives. Together, we work to spread the spirit of collaboration, and this simple concept allows us to advance in product development, for example, in services, business practices, and education, as well as a community as a whole. And all the manufacturers, also non-members, are so welcome to join the in-person meeting of the LIRC on the 29th of June, the day before the conference starts. It's going to be in the afternoon, and so please get in touch with me or anyone else in the LIRC committee if you'd like to join.
And from your experience with the ILIRC, has that changed for you personally as a lighting designer, your collaboration with the industry?
Quite a bit. In the beginning, because of cultural and local experience, I sort of had some conflicts in the way the market was dealt with, especially in some sort of competition. especially in Italy. And then I learned there is a way to grow together and to collaborate together in order to make our industry better. That is through the volunteering experience I had with the LIRC in the first few years and now as a steering committee member. Altogether, we are working on several white papers in committees to develop our industry even further. And it's so exciting to see new volunteers coming in the group and bringing fresh ideas on how we really can bring forward this spirit of collaboration.
I think it's very interesting to have that personal view of yourself, because I think the lighting community, especially we as a independent lighting designer, we felt always a little bit like on an island. But at the end of the day, our daily work is with those partners, and we are reliable on them, and to have the finalized products, because we are the creators and we need also partners to do the technical um, development, and to push the industry and also the industry into the new future and what we think about it. So
We really can't be without each other, right?
Yeah.
And through this collaboration, there are so many ways to grow that are just like out there to reach to. It's up to us to get in touch and to continue the conversation. And the LIRC and the IALD are a fabulous way to bring this forward. And eventually, the spirit of community is what makes our profession so great. So I guess we all can just be happy to contribute and continue bring this forward.
Yeah, I think learning from each other, this is lessons learned. There's a reason why also we go to conference, not only to have a nice chat and have a good drink and enjoy our time, but there's also one new way of dialogue which will be established um, for our industry. New, it is already more and more established, which is the crosstalk. So, could you explain what this is for those who haven't done it before? What they can expect if they go to the sector crosstalk, and what they can expect, and what will be the positive and the learning curves they can experience there.
I'm smiling so much because Lighting Crosstalk is a very special session. It's super interactive. And what happens is that manufacturers who sponsor a table each will meet face to face several groups of lighting designers, professional lighting designers. We are picked randomly and we join a table, and then we have another table to join, and so on. And here, all together, we can discuss new products or topics that are of interest for the table. And it's basically a unique chance for lighting designers to provide feedback on these presented products, as well as, for example, sharing a wish list. Like, oh, I really look forward to getting my hands on this particular lens and this particular feature. I cannot find it on the product, and so on. But it's also super fun to engage with each other because you get to talk to different lighting designers all the time and different manufacturers all the time. It's a very short session. You need to stay on time. It's going to be a bell, and well, at least I think it's going to be a bell this year too. And well, it's super fun, very engaging. And participating manufacturers say it's some of the best feedback they got for the entire year. And designers say it improves the relationship with the manufacturers long after the conference is closed. So I invite all the professional lighting designers who can to join the crosstalk and to have fun with each other.
So it is a little bit like an elevator talk. So you have these 15 seconds and you are on the 6th floor. Only this elevator is pretty much crowded with also other lighting designers. And you could learn from each other because everyone is asking in a different way questions. And it's not only what will be said, but also how a question will be raised. You could think like, I haven't thought about that aspect. So this is my experience from these crosstalks. I think it's the information you get. It's also raising, and I think this is part of our community. It's a lot of raising the right question at the right time, hopefully. But this crosstalk is it's you don't see each other as competitors. You are in a group and have that crowded elevator.
That's probably
Is
the
that
beauty
what
of
you
the entire conference, right? That we are there as peers all together, and
Yeah.
we really look forward to learn from each other. I think the Enlighten conference is one of the few where people are really willing to share from the very last detail of their presentation of what they have learned, as well as manufacturers with tips and tricks, and it's just so engaging format. And the lighting crosstalk is really a special session. So
Yes, thank you for giving us these insights. I think it will be very interesting, and I will look forward and also will join the crosstalk, and will be very keen to hear what the community is focusing in their questions, and might be I will also raise one question in the group. Thank you, Chiara. It was very nice to talk to you.
super, thank you, Carla.
And our next guest is Juan. Juan, hi, Juan. How
Hello,
are you? It's good
I'm
to
all
have
right.
you.
Thank you, Carla.
Um,
Thanks for the invite.
could you give us also a quick introduction to you and your topic?
Yes, I will do an introduction of myself. Quick is a difficult word for me because
Okay,
I'm.
let's relax.
Cut me
Pick
short.
up a drink.
Cut me short.
Okay.
Okay, I am Juan Ferrari. I work for a company called Hawley here in the UK. I'm a project director for the company. I am originally Argentinian, although most of my working life was based here in the UK. I was very fortunate to travel around Europe at a very young age, and Berlin was one of my favorite cities.
Ooh.
It is probably Berlin and London my top two in Europe. This is a vision that I've held since I'm a kid, and funnily enough, I didn't go to study to Berlin. I ended up studying in London because I went to an English school and I don't know anything about German. But the city is absolutely fascinating and it's full of ghosts, and I'm very attached to it. And every time I go there, I feel at home for some reason. So I love it to bits. And I'm thrilled to be speaking at this conference in Berlin, both for the conference and for the city. I'm a father of three. Yeah, I have three kids.
All
One
right.
of them 25 already.
Ooh.
So, yeah, so it's next generation already cracking on with it. As a lighting designer, if I have to summarize the type of design that I like, is that the one that actually respects narrative, that likes storytelling, and that amongst everything is as sustainable as it can be. Especially my drive now, especially is trying to make it sustainable. Make it human centric and sustainable at the same time is at the heart of what we do in Hawley, but also at what I do as a designer. So that's in a nutshell, that's me.
So Martina already had that. She said one of the focus is sustainability, and that we have to have a focus on that.
Mhm.
She had
He
you
has a new
on board.
definition. I'm
I think we have to redefine it from
Yeah.
the last 10 years. We have to have a fresh look at it, because
Yeah.
it has so many components, and we have to be very careful with our environment. So that will
Yeah.
be quite an interesting discussion. But you are speaking at the conference about artificial intelligence. This
I
is
am.
a hot topic now across many industries, so we are
Yes.
not the only one. Could
Yeah.
you give us a little insight into your presentation?
Yeah, it's. I tell you how all started. It started on a road trip last year when I was with one of my colleagues in a car driving from here to sunny Birmingham, from here in London to sunny Birmingham for a conference, and we started playing with ChatGPT while we were stuck in traffic. Put it that way, on the phones, and we were testing how close to accurate ChatGPT would be with descriptions that we generally standardize in the lighting industry. So give us the basic facts for a Cat A office. What should we be doing? And we started feeling that it was quite good. For a starting point in a microsecond, it was like, wow, okay, that's quite interesting. And that backed me through the entire year last year, and at the beginning of this year when and as we all are, Carl, as you said, we're all actually using it or learning how to use it in the best possible way. I said, why don't I actually speak about this? Because the philosophical side of things is what I adore, which is whether we should trust a lighting designer who incorporates artificial intelligence or not into the work. You know, if you can trust me because I'm using an artificial intelligence, and I'm going to give you one basic snapshot of what I use it for, that I didn't use it, that helps me a lot. English is my second language, and I speak English more or less all right. You know, I can communicate. I've been present in English for many, many years, so it's okay. When it comes to writing, I'm not that good. And I usually get my technical writing or my professional writing to somebody else for that person to read it and say, does it make sense? Now, that exercise that I used to do with a human and actually took a lot of time to somebody else to read, understand, and go through is done very quickly by a machine now. And I appreciate that. In a nutshell, that cuts a lot of my working time in half. Not that I actually then press send on what the different artificial intelligence send me back. Obviously, I reread that. I make sure that it's mine, that it makes sense, that it does. Artificial intelligence is like having an adolescent kid, you know. They are sometimes tricky because they decide to put a little bit of a Mickey Mouse face in the middle of a very serious paper, and you were like, "What?" The other day we were trying some images with one of the artificial intelligences, and we gave them a background image to illuminate, and it did a lighting scheme, a series of lighting schemes to a facade. And then it started changing the windows, and the prompt was never change the architecture. We actually prompted to actually keep the architecture as it stands on the background image. It keep on changing it, and you were like, "Oh, you're you're funny," you know.
You're too creative.
Yeah, they're very creative, but sometimes in reality you cannot do that. Imagine that you're working with a historic monument. Say that you're doing the Brandenburg Gate and you're glazing all the sections between columns and structure, and you were like, "Oh, you're not going to be allowed to do that." You know?
Big Ben would look completely different.
You're absolutely right, because Chipperfield has done that in Berlin itself. You know,
Yeah. You can choose one monument, and I would love to have a look at your chatbot.
Yeah, it would
What
be.
it makes out of it.
I'll share everything with you. It's absolutely fascinating as a subject. Mainly, if you ask me for a nutshell conclusion today, in my opinion, yeah, we all need to jump into that, embrace it, and love it as much as we can. Obviously, with our own judgment on top of that, trying to make sure that what comes out represents us, because it's very dangerous if it doesn't. You know. Now, that thing about machines taking over the world, if they do, and they do a better job than the one that we are doing, I'm up for it, I'm up for them to actually take it. But that's my personal opinion. I know that some people will differ with me, and actually one of the things that I would like with my presentation is to open up once again that debate that I know that it started in different platforms, as we all know, not only in lighting but around different professions.
Yeah, from my experience, I experienced in my life that people went on the street and said, like, computers are dangerous. We want to have our typewriters back.
Exactly.
So I think the young generation is like, what? So this is, I think there are funny moments in life. If you try to ignore future, it will come back to you in a really awkward matter. So the pandemic feels like it accelerated the rate of change. How critical do you think it is for the lighting profession to focus on the change for the future?
Yeah, the pandemic actually left us all a little bit anxious. And I think, if anything, it probably accelerated our anxiety to change, not necessarily change itself. I think that in our profession, in lighting design, we still have a lot of old habits that are kind of difficult to send out, regardless of the pandemic or not. We know that we need to change. We know from a planet catastrophe or catastrophe is a terrible word. Planet emergency. We need to change. We need to change old habits. We need to make sure that the change is sustainable, that the change is forever, is permanent, and that the most important, that is human centric. Because if we actually create a change that is perfect for sustainability and will save the planet, but it's not human centric, we are gonna die. And maybe there is not much.
It will be an Earth without us.
It would be what? Sorry.
An Earth without us.
It would be. There would be an Earth without us.
The animals are happy.
Yes, absolutely. Yes.
The plants are happy, and
yeah.
we have to say goodbye. No. But then also, what I would like to know, I know you advocate training and mentoring the next generation of designers. How do conferences like Enlighten Europe in Berlin help support those endeavors?
I think getting together as human beings is our nature.
Human beings.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. As beings, it is our nature. I people say, well, I can work on my own. I'm quite independent, and I go like, right, that's okay, but surely collaboration is what we as human. It's like asking a bee not to collaborate with other bees. They collaborate. We humans collaborate, and conferences are the perfect platform for us to collaborate, for us to learn. Most importantly, conference of the type that the one that we're going to go to Berlin there's a cross section of different generations, and I'm key to listen to the younger generation, the people that are coming into the profession, and the ones that you're making reference in your question is how do we mentor them, to hear what they have to say, because they are the future, the first one, and most importantly, they are the voice of the people that are not here. Yeah, they're the voice of the people that are not here yet. They're going to have to be parents and fathers and mothers of the next generation that is coming, and they need to be responsible, and they will need to face their kids as we face ours, and definitely they need to start speaking. So in those conferences, what we can do is share our knowledge, listen to what they have to say, tell them what we know today, and get the best for the future. For me, they're fascinating and absolutely fundamental platforms for our industry to thrive and to have a I'm still discussing this 20 years down the line, but to have a future. I think that our industry depends very much on this sort of conference where we all get together and we become the lighting industry. or the lighting specialism as such, and take ownership of something that we all feel it's very important to us, but there are a lot of other people that do feel it's important to them and do it in a slightly different way and with other objectives. So I think that this conference are fundamental.
Thank you so much, Juan. It was a pleasure to talk to you.
It's a pleasure to talk to you, Carla.
Looking forward to ask even more and more questions on the artificial intelligence. So we learned a lot of things. Take a boat or a bike. Now, stay at the conference. You will learn a lot about sustainability. There are crosstalks where you be engaged, and it was really good to hear. At the end, it's about the humans in our community, and that we are open to listen and take the time to explore our industry and new ideas, learn from experience, and fresh ideas on the market. I also would like, and I think such a conference is only possible through the strong support of our sponsors. Without their partnership, we couldn't have that great venue, and we'll enjoy our time. So I would thank you very much. Former Lighting, LED Linear, LED Flex, Comer, Cool Edge, Aldo LED, OM, Qtran, SGM, and XAL. It's planned that you are our partners in this conference, and we are delighted to have you with us on board in the lighting community. So thanks again. We all look forward to welcome you all in Berlin, and it was a pleasure to speak to my colleagues, and it's only a few days, and for me a short trip. Have safe travels, and see you in Berlin.
See you in Berlin.
See you in
See you in Berlin.
Bye.
Bye-bye.